Well, check it out, y'all. We got what you need. We're all living in apartments, condos, vans. Well, dude, even you can have a studio in a box. Yes, we can help you with that right here at Blind Knowledge. We work on your budget, and we figure out your measurements. We'll get you the best sound for the best price. Let me know, 877-237-1143 or at blindknowledge.com. Yep.
Spectres all around me, living in stark, blazing the dark. One by one, pictures gather round me. Where those moonflowers used to rust no more. Spectres gather round here, living in stark, blazing the dark. Night by night, stare into the black where moonflowers used to grow.
Do you struggle with putting yourself first? Are you tired of feeling burnt out and overwhelmed from constantly putting the needs of others before your own? I have created a sacred space that will be available once a week for 10 weeks to learn, dive deep, and create your boundaries to boost your confidence and self-worthiness. Go to www.krista-luna.com and sign up for the Master Your Boundaries course starting in September 2023. And use the code PARANORMAL to get 30% off today on www.crsta-luna.com.
All right, I'm ready.
All right. That's okay. We've had no watchers yet. Posting out to my page now, and welcome to Paranormal, the New Normal. I'm your host, as always, Jeremy, and welcome to the show where we try to make the world seem a little more normal. Does it ever happen? Well, it happened once upon a time back in October when we did a horror movie bracket for Halloween, because that was a normal topic, unlike most of our topics. And
normal is boring.
Exactly. And we are starting a new format show tonight on this show. And it's also the first, it'll also be happening on my other show, Maniacal Music Musings, as well, where we'll be doing 1-on-1, 2-on-1, and even a 3-on-1 bracket at one point, or 2 points, on either show. On past bracket topics we've done, and all the future bracket topics we'll do will also be available once we do them as a group. And to start that off, I had to bring one of my new favorite podcasters I've been working with lately. And of course, he is the music god himself, host of the Noize Report, CJ motherfucking Plane.
What's up, brother?
And yeah, I know. Even get the dogs riled up here. Damn, CJ.
I am wound up. I am jacked up on Pepsi and Sunny D and Mike's Hard Lemonade. So,
ooh, that's a combo and a half.
Yeah, right. It's basically what was in the refrigerator and cold. So,
and that's the perfect drink combination for a horror movie marathon, which is what we will be doing tonight. Is a 34 horror movie bracket. And I didn't know CJ when we originally did this, or he probably would have been on the original one too, but. Now that I know CJ, he immediately said when I offered him the list of brackets, oh, I'm starting with the horror movie bracket. So That's what we're going to do tonight. And
I don't get to do this shit. Like, I do music, dude. Like, I get to do music a lot, but I don't get to do the movie stuff that often. I don't get to do like the other stuff that I love, like pop culture and books and wrestling and shit like that. So I always jump at something that's a little different.
Well,
especially if there's music that ties into it, and like a lot of these horror movies have like great music associated with them. So, like,
and there are plenty of other options in the brackets we've done before that you can hit later on with all those topics as well. But you want to start off with this one, and let's get right to it, folks. And just so everybody knows, I did not pick these rankings. These rankings come from Rotten Tomatoes, and as they say on my good friend DeAndre's show, who also has one-on-one brackets, as they say in his show, Masturbators, fuck Rotten Tomatoes. So if you don't agree with these rankings, CJ or our audience, then don't blame me. But to start it off, our first matchup for round one, the first half of round one. Yeah, I'm excited too, Moose.
I will let everybody know right now that I'm going to play spoiler on a lot of these. So
they've all been out for a long time, so I have no worries about that. If you haven't seen them by now, folks, you're not a horror movie fan. Put it that way. So the first matchup is number 14, Scream 3. Why Scream 3 is 14 and the other Screams aren't on this, don't ask me. I didn't make these rankings. But it's going against, and I threw this one in here. Oh, shit. I threw this one in here. Number 41, 2017's It. So,
that one's actually, this one's actually pretty easy for me. Even though I am not a Stephen King fan for the most part, there are a couple exceptions to that. Skarsgård did such a better job with the role of It than the original miniseries that we have to go with that over Scream, because I don't dislike the Scream movies, but at the same time, Matthew Lillard was kind of the only person in the Scream movies that I kind of gave a shit about. Like, I don't know, like, they're okay, but they don't like make my list of favorite horror movies to watch. So, yeah, definitely It all day, every day, all night.
Well, that's something we agree on, actually, because I've never seen any of the Scream movies. Have no urge to ever. Even with the new one, even seeing the advertisements for the new one all the time on Freevee, I still have no urge to ever go see any of them. And you're one of the few people who will agree with me that the new It is better than the miniseries. So
yeah, I'm not a Stephen King fanatic. I'm really not. I'm very, very choosy about my Stephen King stuff. And you will see during this bracket what I mean. But like, it's just, even though I don't love the It movie, Skarsgård, he played the It role the way Heath Ledger played Joker. Like, he really personified the character. He really got into it and made it much better than what it would have been originally, So
don't get me started on Heath Ledger's Joker. This is not a comic book movie bracket. I'm not going to get into that. But
no, I'm just saying, but it's got that same kind of vibe to it, like he played it in that same kind of way. Like, he really embodied the role and made it much bigger than it would have been with someone else. So
yeah, I mean, all respect due to Tim Curry, but Skarsgård did a way better job than you did.
Yeah.
I mean, I get you were playing a different version of Pennywise, kind of in a way, but still, like, it's just the makeup people for Skarsgård are just incredible, and they made him look terrifying, even just as a clown. Tim Curry didn't look terrifying until he opened his mouth.
I mean, and that was the thing. Like, look, I put it this way: Curry played the TV version, and Skarsgård played the movie version.
It's a good way to put it. It's a good way to put it.
And, one played the PG-13 version and one played the R version. And
exactly.
That was the difference. Of not that Curry's was bad. It was just.
Well, no, I don't think anything Tim Curry ever did was bad. But
no, that's the thing. But it was very dumbed down for TV. Like, you could tell that it was suspenseful, but it wasn't scary per se, in the sense of, like, I grew up with great horror movies, great horror characters, slasher films and killers, and it didn't scare me. Like,
oh, I agree. I agree 100%.
Like, I would have beat the shit out of that fucking clown the first chance it would have fucked me. So where Skarsgård's was kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna fuck with that clown because that's some whole different level of crazy. But
I agree. Well, let's see who it's going to face because it might be going out the next round regardless. But the next matchup, and just so everybody knows, including you, CJ, if I don't say a year to these things, it means the original movie. So
Yeah, because I wonder there's 3 or 4 of them that have multiple versions, and
yeah, it means the OG version if I don't say a year.
okay.
But and I have to say that for this next matchup because the next matchup is number 13, the original Frankenstein in black and white versus number 28, Dr. Sleep.
Mm. Damn, I thought those would come later. Dr. Sleep has got a killer cast. But man, there's something about an old school that just they had a different kind of vibe, that Bela Lugosi era, man. Like it was a different kind of thing. So I'm gonna go with the original Frankenstein, man, because it's an OG film. Like, without those films, none of these ones come later,
Exactly.
And
I'm not saying.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I'm not saying I would go the same way in this one, but still, Ewan McGregor did an amazing job in Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
But,
Dr. Sleep is a killer movie. But I'm looking at it kind of from the aspect of one's the OG movie, and when you think about, they didn't have any of the modern effects or modern technology to create that, so they really had to go big with the sound effects and the visual effects and the makeup and all of that to really create that, so it was a much more time consuming and a much more hands-on thing than what the modern stuff is, so
I agree.
Yeah.
You gotta pay respect to the OGs, and Frankenstein is one of the OG Universal monsters. So
yeah.
But all right, so that means in the second round that you're going to have It 2017 versus number 13, Frankenstein. But this next matchup is a matchup of classics, or well, at least what most people consider classics. And it's up first, number 12, Jaws, which is also the top seed in our shark movie bracket coming out the end of this month on Paranormal Normal.
Nice. As it should be.
Versus number 27, Rosemary's Baby, which is a new favorite of mine for horror movies.
Damn it, man.
Oh, yeah, this is not easy. And this is only the second matchup, third matchup, but it doesn't get easier.
Oh, trust me, bro. Like, I get it. Like I said, bro, when we did that, the greatest guitarist not named Eddie Van Halen one, I had some matchups in the very first round that were so brutal that we were like, oh, there's no way these two met like in the very first round. It was like, oh shit. Like, one of the I think the third one we did on that one was Frank Zappa versus Stevie Ray Vaughan. Oof. And we were just like, both of us, we were just like, oh shit, didn't want to see that matchup. Not in the very first round, like damn, and we were going back. It took us like 30 minutes to decide because how do you pick one of those two over the other? Like, no, for that one, damn. Vincent Price versus Jaws. Sharon Tate, the only major movie that Sharon Tate did right before the
Charles Manson shit, yeah.
The Manson murders. Damn. I gotta go Jaws, man.
Hold on 1 second, CJ. I can't hear you. Apparently need to charge my headset here. So, all right, talk now.
I say I gotta go with Jaws. I think.
Oh, wait a minute. I know why. All right, now talk.
Check.
Why doesn't the
Checkity check.
I don't know why the freaking microphone. Oh, I know why. Okay, never mind. Hold on 1 second. Let me go to the other thing here. Just do it through the computer speakers. Hopefully, it doesn't make an echo. All right, now I can hear you.
All right.
Well, and let me
Yeah.
let me move my microphone over so I'm not having an echo here. But
I was gonna say yeah.
all right. So which way do you want to go on Jaws
Um,
for Rosemary's
Man,
Baby?
I gotta go with Jaws. Like Rosemary's Baby is a great movie. It's Vincent Price and it really is a dark movie, but Jaws there was a realism to Jaws, and I was living in California when that come out. So that was a legitimate thing for me, like, you know, like going to the beach like we did and shit, and them kind of making it like, oh, there's something in the water that can get your ass, and dude, it made you like second guess going into the water and doing the shit that we did every day. So yeah, I gotta go with Jaws.
All right, which is going to bring us to see what Jaws will face in round 2. And I'm not saying this one's any easier by any means. It's number 11, Bride of Frankenstein, the one and only. I don't think there ever was a remake of it, really, but versus number 26, Halloween, 1978.
Oh, Halloween all day. Not even close. Bride of Frankenstein was good, but Halloween was, it set the tone for so many movies during the 80s that come after it, whether it was the Friday the 13th or whether it was Nightmare on Elm Street, Sleepaway Camp, Fraternity Days, Pieces. Just, slasher films in general of the 80s. To Halloween and John Carpenter, man. So,
Of course. Which means Halloween will face Jaws in round 2. But the next matchup might be a little bit easier for you, but we'll see. Is number 10, A Quiet Place, the first one, versus number 25, Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs, not even close.
But some people argue Silence of the Lambs isn't a horror movie; it's a psychological thriller movie.
It is a psychological thriller, but I guess what's your definition of horror films? I mean, serial killers are horror oriented, and come on, you don't get much better serial killer than Hannibal Lecter, So we'll go with it.
All right. To see who it's going to face, though, it's going to be number 9, The Invisible Man, the original one, not any of the newer ones, versus number 24, which this one surprised the hell out of me when I watched it. It became an instant classic of mine, Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah, we got to go with Bone Tomahawk. That's
Ooh,
a great movie.
respect.
Yeah, that's a great movie. It's
And
yeah.
one of the last movies Captain Spaulding was in before he passed away.
among other things, but yeah.
Yeah, he was. He was short-lived in it, but it was still a good, amazingly good movie, and it actually is a very paranormal, scary movie, which is amazing because I love that it fed into this tournament a little bit better. But
I mean, what the fuck is? I want to. Yeah, I want to make sure I'm thinking of the right movie. Yeah, it's the one with Kurt Russell, right?
yeah, it's the one
Yep.
with the hidden Nathan
And Matthew Fox. Yep. David Arquette. Yep. And Sid Haig. Yep. Bone Tomahawk.
which means Bone Tomahawk will face Silence of the Lambs in round 2. But that brings us down to the last full matchup on this side, on this half of round 1. And it's number 8, They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper versus number 23, Aliens with an S from 1986.
Fuck me. Aliens was a great movie, but I'm sorry. I've come to chew bubble gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum. Got to go with Piper, man. Like They Live is just a killer. It's another one of the movies that I watch repeatedly and never get sick of. So yeah, They Live,
All right.
all day.
Which, I mean, yeah, it's such. The graphics are, I mean, not the graphics, the effects of it are so horrible, but it's such a great movie. It really is.
Yeah, it's in that same category as Iron Eagle. Like it's a cheesy movie. It's kind of silly and dumb, but you just never get sick of it because there's a certain something about it. It has a sort of a goofy charm that, just a fun movie. It's
Oh, it is. And so that brings us down to finish off the final match of this half round one. We first have to do the first play-in of this matchup. And this in the original bracket was called the Chansey play-in match because it pitted Chansey's two favorite movies against each other. And it's number 54 on Rotten Tomatoes list, Hellraiser, the first one, versus number 96, the OG Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And yes, I tore Chansey's soul in two, making him decide between these two. But
yeah, that's kind of son of a. Let's see. We got the Psycho Family Cannibals versus the supernaturalistic alien race.
Well, demons, but yeah.
Yeah.
Which could be aliens, according to some people that have been on my show, but I won't get into that now.
Or were they demons? I thought they were aliens.
No, I mean, it's literally called Hellraiser, so they are xenomorphs, or I'm not xenomorphs, xenobites, which are supposed to be a demon species.
Okay. We're gonna go with Leatherface on this one.
No, just to piss Chansey off a little, I'll say what I always say. I think the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre is better than the original. With the one they did in the 90s.
Yeah, I'm not going to say one is better than the other. They're different in the aspect of the time period and, again, the technology that was available to make them. But
yeah,
I think they did a good job all around. Like even the newest one, everybody hated the newest one, and I got a few chuckles out of it. Like I thought it had a few really good lines. Like it
is that the one where they get in the school bus and
yeah.
Okay. My wife was watching it and I only caught parts of it, but yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna win any awards, but it's fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Like I'm sorry, like if you go into these movies thinking that you're gonna see high art, like come on, bro. Like it's a fucking horror movie. Like like we're not talking Academy Award here. There's very few of these movies that are ever,
nominate even, let alone win. But well, that's why my friends at podcast did the Felix, and that's why Nightmare on Elm Street won the 1984 Felix. So there you go. We gave an award to a horror movie, but that means that number 96, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre OG, is going to face in the final matchup in this half of round one, number 15, the Lighthouse.
Woo. Oh, that was a tart. Woo. Woo! I don't remember those being quite so. Those are tart.
Oh yeah. I can't drink Mike's for that reason.
That's like cherry. So, all right, who's next? Who's the next victim?
Well, I didn't hear a choice between Texas Chainsaw and The Lighthouse.
Oh, that's actual. Yeah, Texas Chainsaw all day. The Lighthouse was horrifically boring.
I agree.
all respect to Patterson and
Defoe.
Yeah, Defoe for those roles, but that movie was like watching paint dry. Like it just.
I don't need to watch. I don't need to watch Patterson jerk off in a lighthouse in black and white. I'm good.
Yeah, like it's just. I get that's probably when it comes to horror type shit. That's probably as close as you're ever gonna get to one being nominated, because it is very artsy fartsy and it's just not entertaining and even in the least. A couple other ones on this list the same way, like they just we'll get to those though.
Oh yeah, well, and that's gonna bring us to the other side of round one now. And it's number 7, The Babadook, versus number 22, the original Night of the Living Dead.
Night of the Living Dead all day. Babadook was another one that was fucking horrible. That was one of the ones I hadn't seen, and I sat down and started watching it. And after about 30 minutes, I was just like, this isn't going to happen. Like, I'm not spending another hour and 15 minutes finishing this piece of crap. Like, ugh.
Well, I'll tell you, you were smart because I watched the whole thing and I wasn't impressed. But
here's the thing about a horror movie. You don't hook me within the first 15 minutes, I'm probably not finishing in it. Like if you don't show me something within the first 15 minutes to make me want to know how this shit ends.
Exactly.
I'm you get maybe 20, 30 minutes tops, but if you ain't hooked me by then, it's a wash, man. Like we're going to move on to something different. So,
Yep, exactly. I agree 100%. Which brings us to the next matchup here. And it's going to be number 6, When a Stranger Calls, versus number 21, The Blair Witch Project.
I was going to ask you which version of When a Stranger Calls.
The original.
But it don't even fucking matter because I absolutely detest The Blair Witch Project.
Thank you. Thank you.
When a Stranger Calls all day. The original was awesome. The remake was actually really good as well.
The sequel, you mean?
Yeah, well, no, there was the original, and then there was a sequel to it in like 92 or so, and then there was the remake in 2006.
Okay, you're talking When a Stranger Calls, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, like When a Stranger Calls all day, and it's not even close. Like it's like comparing a Prius to a Lamborghini. That's
well, I'm happy we agree because I never even watched the Blair Witch Project because it looks like such garbage.
I am not a fan of the hidden footage type movies to begin with, but that's the worst of them. Like it just
there's only one hidden footage movie I truly love, and it's God. Why can't I never think of his name? It's a unique ass name. I can't think of it, but it's a Sasquatch movie, and it's a Bigfoot movie. It's a Bigfoot movie that oh my God, I haven't
seen that one because
Yeah, if I gotta think of his name. He's got a very unique name. The director. He was a stand-up comedian in like the 80s. I forget his name. I can't think of it. But all right. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah.
It's
When you sent me that list, and when I seen the list, I was like, yeah, that one's going out first round. I don't give a shit what it's against. It's losing. Like,
I'm happy because it got pretty far in the original version of this bracket. So
hate that movie with a passion.
but the next matchup is number 5, Alien from 1979 versus number 20, It Follows.
Alien.
Yeah, see, I'm more a fan of It Follows.
I don't know. Like, It Follows wasn't horrible, but it didn't really hold my interest that much either. Like, it was kind of one of the movies that I just sort of watched and was kind of like, okay, you know, it was an okay concept, but it wasn't like mind blowing. So I don't know, like it I don't know, like it just didn't blow me away. It wasn't horrible, like it was good enough to where I watched the whole thing, but not great enough to where I would do it again. Whereas Alien, I probably would. Watch again. Under duress, maybe, but not. You know.
All right. Well, to see what Alien's going to face in round 2, the next matchup is number 4, Us, the Jordan Peele movie, versus number 19, Let the Right One In.
Now, are we talking the Norwegian version or the American version?
Unfortunately, we are talking the Norwegian version because that's the one that was in this.
Thank you. Let the Right One In all day long. That is one of the best of the best to me. Like when I seen that, I watched that around the same time as I watched the Swedish versions of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And fucking phenomenal. Dark in all the right places. Just enough blood and guts to have you on the edge of your seat. The photography of it, you know, the outside shots of the cold playground and shit like that. It was so well done to me. Like I was so impressed with it. Probably one of my favorite horror movies of the past 15 years or so. So yeah, Let the Right One In all day. The American one wasn't bad, but nowhere near as good as the Norwegian one. So,
Which means Let the Right One In will face Alien in round 2. But that's going to bring us to the next matchup here. And it's number 3, Tales from the Hood, versus number 18, Hereditary.
yeah, Tales from the Hood. Come on, dude. It's fucking Snoop Dogg. Like, you know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, like that was Tales from the Hood. Not only Snoop, but it was one of the first horror movies that was a predominantly black cast. You know, so and they're pretty groundbreaking in just what they did with it. So,
and they can't all die first. So,
yeah, and it was a movie too that, even though it was a horror movie, it didn't take itself that seriously. Like it was very tongue in cheek and very funny. Even though it reminded me a lot of like Leprechaun.
Yeah.
In the fact that it was a horror movie, but it was still very sarcastic and tongue in cheek, and it had a lot of humor in it, you know. So, yeah.
What it reminded me of, actually, this is a movie I just watched for the podcast we did, and it was Black Devil Doll from Hell.
Yeah.
Which no one else watched because they couldn't find it. I only found it on my Magic Fire Stick, but it's such a horrible fucking movie. It's just so horrible. Like it's so horrible, it's funny. But I like Tales from the Hood. But to see what Tales from the Hood's going to face, we have number 2, Jordan Peele's premiere movie, Get Out, versus number 17, Demon.
Now, Demon, is that the Polish one?
Yes, yes. Which I absolutely hated. I hated Demon personally. I hated it.
I hated both of these movies, so
No,
I'm not a Jordan Peele fan. I don't know. There's something about his filmmaking that just kind of, whether it's the new Candyman, whether it's Us, whether it's Get Out, whether it was that fucking other monstrosity he made with the fucking aliens or whatever.
Yeah, nope. And that's Nope was horrible. I like his first two movies, but Nope was horrible, and I wasn't a fan of the new Candyman.
So you have a choice between a kick in the balls and a kick in the face. Let's go with Get Out. Because probably get knocked out at the next round. So it'll be a fitting title.
Possibly. But the last full matchup in this side of round one is the number 1 seed for this bracket from 1960, Psycho, versus number 16, Bird Box.
Yeah, that's not even close either. Psycho all day long. I've actually stood on the porch on the Universal Studios lot of the Psycho house and whatnot. So, and yeah, Psycho was, again, groundbreaking in every aspect. Anthony Perkins, the role he portrayed, and the creepy ass ending, all day, every day over Bird Box. Bird Box was another one of the movies that just was such a stupid premise that I don't even know how the fuck it made it past the table of people who approve this shit.
Yep.
Like if you're sitting there reading scripts, I don't know what it was about this movie that made someone jump up and be like, "Oh, we got to make this one, and we got to spend $20 million for the top star in Hollywood," because it's just a dumbass movie. I'm sorry.
I agree. I wasn't that big. It was okay, but I wasn't that big a fan of it.
Like,
that's going to bring us down to the last play-in matchup we have to see who we'll face in the last matchup of round one. And this play-in matchup is called the Female Redemption matchup. It's number 55, Teeth, versus number 67, Revenge.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Revenge because I looked it up, but typing in Revenge horror movie gave me a list of 755 movies. So
I just told someone else who's doing this bracket, but it's on Shudder. It's on Shudder.
It ain't gonna make a difference, truthfully, because Teeth is one of those movies that I thought was such a great movie. The chick who played the character did it so well, and come on, the concept.
I know.
Come on, we grew up making jokes about, snappers and shit like that. And, wham, you got the whole new fucking definition of red snapper. So yeah, it was Teeth all day long. The Teeth was a great movie, that just was long overdue and was to me probably the second best example of the female revenge type of horror movie.
Yeah, I mean, I love that movie. DeAndre Robinson from Masturbators, that movie made him not have sex for a couple months or something like that.
Yeah,
And I mean, I personally, it didn't affect me that way. I think I actually went and slept with my wife that night. I watched it, but I mean, that's just me. I don't have but it's funny because it's a Native American folklore tale, along with many other cultures. That the basis of that movie. It's called Vagina Dentatum. I think the original story of it. So, or something like that. It's been around forever. That story, that idea of a story, and it's just that scene where the doctor's hand is bitten and he's like,
Yeah.
that scene's just classic.
I mean, truthfully, next to I Spit on Your Grave, probably the greatest of the female revenge horror movies. Like,
Well,
you know,
I'm telling you, watch Revenge on Shudder at some point, and
okay.
I mean, both these movies I love, so I can't say either way or another. It's the wrong choice, but
What year did the Revenge one come out?
off the top,
Roughly.
2017.
Okay, Revenge.
It's I mean, it's a female. It's basically
Yeah. Now that I know like approximately what I'm looking for,
yeah.
but when I put in Revenge horror movie, it gave me a list of like 57 movies, and I was like, I had no idea if there was supposed to be more associated or if it was just revenge. And there was a bunch of martial art ones in there, and like all of the Cynthia Rothrock movies showed up because she's a female vigilante karate bitch in all of her movies. So
yeah, I mean, it's a damn good movie, and
yeah, I'll check it out for sure. Like,
definitely a root for the female character movie, but that means Teeth at number 55 moves into the final matchup, but this might be a tough one because it's going against number 30, Cabin in the Woods.
That's not tough. Teeth all day long.
See, I love both these movies too. So Cabin in the Woods to me is like the perfect horror comedy. And the ending to it is every paranormal lover's dream, that the government has all these creatures in a warehouse underneath the ground. So,
yeah, I guess.
I mean, I rewound that one scene where they're going through the elevator into the underground bunker so many times because I was trying to count all the different paranormal creatures that were down there. And I couldn't count them all. Like, that's just how many there were. I couldn't count them all and like keep track of them. So, yeah, it's insane. So, but that means that Psycho will face Teeth in round 2. And that brings us to the end of round 1. And we can now start round 2. Which, going back to the other side, the first matchup in round 2 is number 41 at 2017 versus number 13, Frankenstein. Oh, good Frankenstein impression.
Yeah. Probably going to go with It. I think
I don't blame you.
a little scarier.
Mm-hmm. A lot scarier if you ask me, but
just better concept all around. I mean, credit to the OG movie, but by today's standards, it's not really scary per se. So yeah, definitely got it. If we're doing horror movies, we got to go with It because
you got it. Yeah, I get
it. In all fairness, like Frankenstein isn't really what I would consider a horror movie by today's standards. So
no, I mean, it's more science fiction than horror, but
yeah, like it just, I don't know. Like, I mean, if we were doing like old school horror or pre 1990 or some shit like that, then it go a lot further. But
well, actually, that may come up in October. I was trying to think of another. I had a couple ideas of how to do another horror movie bracket with different rankings, but maybe a dated one's the way to do it. We'll see. But
yeah, just
I got all summer.
80s slasher films. That's going to be one of the ones I set up because there are so many 80s slasher movies that trust me, half the movies that I put on my list, people are not even going to fucking recognize or probably have seen. But when they go back and watch these movies, people are going to be like, oh shit, how did I miss this? This was fucking great. Like, you know, like the movie, I'll tell you right now, the movie Pieces, and I won't participate in this one. It'll be you guys doing it, because I'll tell you right now, I will have Pieces in there, and that will be my winner, because Pieces from 1983 has the greatest ending of any movie ever fucking created. If you've never seen Pieces, that's all I'm going to tell you. Greatest ending of a movie in history, period. I won't tell you what it is. You'll have to watch it. But no matter how many times you watch this movie, you will not see the ending coming. Like, it's just one of them endings that comes so out of left field that you're just going to be like, the fuck just happened? And that's it. Like, it's just, trust me, it's like my favorite horror movie of all time.
Just make sure I get that list plenty ahead of time so I can watch it.
I got to make it still. So I haven't even started on that one. I got other ones I want to do first, but yeah. So
okay. Which, to see what it will face in the quarterfinals, you have number 12, Jaws, versus number 26, Halloween 1978.
Man, that's a tough one, because you know, again, I think in all fairness, we're doing horror movies. You got to go with Halloween. Jaws was scary, but I don't really consider it a horror movie in the purest sense. Yes, scary shark, blah blah blah, but it's the ocean. Obviously, there's fucking sharks. So, Michael Myers was, like I said, man, like Carpenter. He opened the genre into what came next, you know. And without John Carpenter doing Halloween, man, there's no Wes Craven, there's no Lloyd Kaufman, there's no, you know, there's so many directors who owe what they did to John Carpenter. You know, it's that simple.
It is, and that means in the the first part of the quarterfinals, you'll have It versus Halloween. But moving down to the bottom half of round 2 on this side, you have number 25, Silence of the Lambs, versus number 24, Bone Tomahawk. Which for me would be an easy decision, but you're not me.
You know, I love Hannibal Lecter. I love Silence of the Lambs. But again, in all fairness, if we're doing horror movies, got to go with Bone Tomahawk, man, and the Cave Dwellers. And, you know, like it's a much scarier horror oriented type of movie. So I got to go with Bone Tomahawk.
Mm-hmm. Which is the way I would have gone to, because for me, that's just easy. But
yeah. Like, again, like, you got to think of it from the aspect of what are we really doing here? Because, again, Silence of the Lambs, it's scary, but not truthfully a horror movie in the truest sense. So,
exactly, I agree, and a lot of people online agree too. I found out when the 104 horror movie bracket was being done back in October on Masturbator's Twitter and Facebook polls. Nice. Silence of the Lambs actually won that bracket, but a lot of people were pissed off about that. So, but the last matchup for this side of round 2 is number 8, They Live, versus number 96, Texas Chainsaw Massacre OG.
Yeah, no disrespect to Leatherface, man, but you got to go with They Live. Just you know, it's like I said, it's that Iron Eagle type of movie, that cheesy, dumb, silly. I just love that damn movie, you know. You know, and yeah, They Live.
All right. Which brings it down to the other side of round 2 now. And the first matchup on this side is number 22, Night of the Living Dead, the original, versus number 6, the original When a Stranger Calls.
I'll go with When a Stranger Calls because that movie hits home. Like, as a parent, your worst fear is something happening to your children. And, you know, in the society we live in with home invasions and everything, it's such a realistic type of thing that could happen. Like, just something going completely out of your fucking control. And, you know, it's scary. Like, you know, you can sit here and say, oh, I would do this or this or this in that situation, but you don't know until it happens because, man, like, that would be a worst case scenario for me. So definitely When a Stranger Calls because, I mean.
All right. And that's to bring it down to see what we'll face When a Stranger Calls. You have number 5, Alien from 1979. Versus number 19, Let the Right One In.
Oh, Let the Right One In. All day.
All right, which means that quarterfinal matchup will be When a Stranger Calls versus Let the Right One In. And the final 2 matchups now in round 2. And this is actually kind of funny because it's number 3, Tales from the Hood, versus number 2, Get Out.
Tales from the Hood.
I knew you were going to do
that. It's like, it's not even close to me. Like, I just, you know, and for anyone who has an inkling that I'm voting against these movies, well, you can't even say that because it's essentially 2 movies with all black cast. So, you know, this has nothing to do with race. I just don't like Jordan Peele as a brilliant actor.
Brilliant comedian.
Yeah, like I don't relate to his writing stuff.
Yeah. Like, I mean,
yeah, I'll keep trying. I'll keep watching. Maybe he'll do something I care about. But
I mean, I can get why Get Out is scary to a lot of people, especially.
Yeah, like I can see it from the other side of the thing. Like, I can see why, like, black people would think that shit was scary because that's real life to them. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. But just me personally, like, I'm kind of like, I don't know, like, I guess it's my white privilege of never having to experience that, and that I don't kind of relate to it. So, you know.
See, for me, though, Us would have went further because the fact that Us kind of leans into the doppelganger theory and the, like, whole other dimensional society theory that is in the paranormal world. So I liked Us a lot. Like, I could think that's realistic or at least somewhat realistic.
Yeah.
But, all right. That's going to bring us down to the last matchup in round 2. And it's number 1, Psycho from 1960 versus number 55, Teeth.
Man. Snapping necks versus snapping pussies.
Well, snapping dicks technically, but yeah.
Well, you know,
or fingers or hands, but yeah.
I think the nostalgic dude in me says I got to go with Psycho, because 1, I've stood on the porch of the place, even though it's actually only half a house. I've stood on the porch, and again, it's much more realistic to me. Like, you know, the serial killer in a hotel room, you know, is much as a guy who spent way too much time in hotel rooms, that much more realistic to me than a vagina with teeth.
Yeah.
Even though, I swear I've dealt with a few of those. Or at least a few that smelled like they had teeth.
Bad imagery right there. Bad imagery.
We're going to go Juggalo style with that one.
Some bad, I shouldn't even say bad imagery. That's some bad olfactory senses right there.
Yeah,
But that's what brings us to the quarterfinals here. And these will determine your final four. But the first matchup is number 41, 2017, versus number 26, Halloween 1978. So almost a 50-year difference here between the movies. Or 40-year difference, I'm sorry.
Again, man, I got to nod to Carpenter because without him, man, what happens if he doesn't make Halloween? Does Stephen King get traction? Does any of these other movies get traction? Like, it was such a massive step forward from what we had before to what we had after.
Yep.
That, it's almost like Rick Rubin with music in the sense that, yes, there was a time before Rick Rubin, but, when Rubin came out with Run DMC, the Beastie Boys, and Slayer, Rain and Blood almost simultaneously, dude, it revolutionized what could be done with music, like everything after that sonically it was a whole new world. Rappers could play rock, rockers could play rap, metal bands could just do the most aggressive shit. And, yeah, Carpenter was the same way. Like, after Michael Myers, man, it was the camera techniques and the writing and even the music associated with horror films took on a whole new life.
I agree. And I respect your decision. Can't say the same one I would make, but I respect your decision. But that brings us down to the other side of the quarterfinals on this side. And that's going to be number 24, Bone Tomahawk, versus number 8, They Live.
Fuck me.
And whatever wins will face Halloween.
Yeah. Sorry, Roddy. We gotta go with Bone Tomahawk because just, again, scarier, better technique. Just in all fairness, They Lives is a great movie, cheesy and all of that, but Bone Tomahawk was really it was kind of a different kind of thing. Like, it really had some great shit in it, so.
Yep, I agree. I would have went the same way, but
yeah.
Which the other side of the quarterfinals here is going to start with number 6, When a Stranger Calls, versus number 19, Let the Right One In.
Kind of the same subject matter, but not really. I got to go with Let the Right One In. There's something about that movie that just, it's a great movie. Like the fact that it's a vampire movie without technically being a vampire movie. The psychological edge that it has to it, the photography and the cinematography being so somber and dark, there's an edge to that movie, man, that just, it's, like I said, it's one of my favorites of the past couple of decades. So we're going to let the right one in.
All right. And that brings us down to see what will face Let the Right One In. And it's the final matchup in the quarterfinals. And it's number 3, Tales from the Hood, versus number 1, Psycho 1960.
I don't want to choose. Go with Psycho.
And the number 1 movie moves on to the final 4. And that means at this point that the quarterfinals are officially over. And your final 4 are going to be Halloween 1978, Bone Tomahawk, Let the Right One In, and Psycho 1960. Which, this is going to be where the difficult part starts. And the first matchup in the semifinals is number 26, Halloween from 1978, versus number 24, Bone Tomahawk.
Let's see. We got the Cave Dwellers, sort of a westernish type vibe, versus the OG. Probably going to be an unpopular opinion, maybe, but for this one, I think I'm going with Bone Tomahawk, man, because that one scared me a little more than Halloween did, and there's something about fighting a serial killer out in the open versus having to fight psychos in the dark.
Yep.
In an unfamiliar terrain where they have home field advantage and shit like that, like being trapped in a cave with monsters of some kind would be a terrifying experience, whether it was Bigfoot, whether it was like Bone Tomahawk, whether it was even like Riddick, and having like fucking creatures in the ground. It would be like a worst case scenario, man. Like,
Exactly. I agree.
Yeah.
Which means the other side of the semifinals is number 19, Let the Right One In, versus number 1, Psycho 1960.
Again, I think unpopular opinion probably, but I gotta go with Let the Right One In because there's a certain something about that movie. There's a cerebral edge to it that just, the knocks on the wall and the solitary swing in the winter playground, just kind of swinging loosely, and the sweeping shots of the 2 apartment buildings with the snow and the bloody footprints coming through the snow, and it just had such, there's an edge, there's an attitude about that movie that, like, he shot that movie like he had something to prove, and he definitely proved that he was a force, so yeah, I gotta go Let the Right One In.
Which means before we do the final matchup here, we're going to do a secondary matchup to see what would be third and what would be fourth place. So that means the first matchup you have for the 2 final matchups is number 26, Halloween 1978 versus number 1, Psycho 1960. Which for a lot of people, this would have been the finals.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was going to be unpopular opinions, but I think I got to go with Halloween though over Psycho. I think Michael is much more formidable than the desk clerk with a knife. Plus, Michael doesn't really die per se. So, yeah,
Yep.
we're going with Halloween over Psycho.
All right. And that means that the finals for you are number 24, Bone Tomahawk, versus number 19, Let the Right One In.
Damn it.
And let me just say, I am so proud that Bone Tomahawk made it this far. I wish it did in the original bracket.
Yeah, I hate choosing between these two movies because, I kind of had a feeling it might come down to these two. But I was hoping that maybe They Live had a different path so that it could be further. But I figured it would run up against something. Both really psychological, both cerebral, both have that dark, edgy attitude.
Let me say, if you do this, if you do a one-on-one with Dre and do his 104 horror movie bracket, then they would probably have different paths because he sorts them by rank each round. I don't do that. I don't rearrange them by rank. I just go with whatever you pick moves on to the next box. But
yeah, see, my brackets are always, everything goes into a single list, then it gets put into the generator, and whatever that generator spits out for a matchup, that's what it is. It's not based on any website or anything like that. Like
I got plenty of those too because of certain topics that don't have ranks, but still, if there's ranks, I like to use the ranks because it's interesting to see how people disagree or agree with the rankings.
God, I'm gonna feel bad doing this, man, but I'm gonna go with Bone Tomahawk for the win because
I love that. I
love Let the Right One In. Like I said, one of my favorite movies of the past probably 10, 15 years. But Bone Tomahawk, man, it's just there's so many elements to it that make it unique in its own way, and it just if you haven't seen it, you wouldn't understand. But if you see it, it really does have some really great
everything.
Yeah. So,
I mean, they literally tear a guy in half in it.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's probably a scarier movie per se than Let the Right One In. Let the Right One In is more psychologically scary. But I think I gotta go. Oh, excuse me. I gotta go with Bone Tomahawk, honestly, because
all right. Which
I think at the end of the day, yeah.
I love that. I love your choice, and I mean, I can't even say who it would win number one if I did this. I can't even say that, but I mean, which I really should have done this first, so I could set my final four are. But no, well, I don't. It's not about me. It's about whoever's doing the bracket. So, if you want to hear my opinions on it, go back to the original episode, and you'll hear all my opinions on every freaking movie. Trust me. But so CJ's final four came down to Psycho 1960 at number 4, Halloween 1978 number 3, Let the Right One In at number 2, and number 1 with Bone Tomahawk an amazing finish, which I love. But that's gonna end us off here. And where can they find your shows, CJ?
I'm the host of the two that you see under my name, the Noize Report and the Racket Bracket. Those are both on YouTube. You can find my channel. It's called The Music God Reacts, and they are under there. They have their own playlists. Our Racket Bracket doesn't yet because we haven't technically done an episode because I'm still trying to get this bummed up. Figure out a night.
Saturday at 9 o'clock, folks. If you're watching the replay of this, Saturday at 9 o'clock, we'll be doing a Prince bracket.
All right, nice. So the first one we're going to do the Prince bracket, the greatest of all time Prince tracks. Depending on how many people show up, I may or may not be voting, or I may just be the innocent bystander, or I may be a tiebreaker. I don't know. We'll figure it out as we go. But yeah, anywhere on Google, you can just type in the Music God CJ playing as you see it. I have a website that is riotonthesetmedia.rocks. I'm in the process of updating it because I'm a lazy bastard and I haven't gotten around to it in the last 4 months. But yeah, you can find me there. Social media wise, Music God CJ playing, all one word, pretty much on everything. Facebook is just CJ playing, but Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all of that shit. LinkedIn is all Music God CJ playing. I don't really use LinkedIn, but I have to have it for school. So most of my LinkedIn shit is going to be really boring school shit. So if you want to see me be a professional, you can go to LinkedIn where I, can't really technically talk shit because it looks bad for your resume. But if you want to see me talk shit, that's Facebook. I am a master of talking shit, both in real life and online. So, yeah, that's what I do. I'm a master of useless knowledge and talking shit about stuff that I have no business talking shit about. So,
hey, me too. But and of course, you could find Paranormal Normal, and be sure to check us out in the future. We have a few more one-on-one brackets for this show coming up as well, and I'm trying to sign more. If you or anybody you know wants to do a one-on-one bracket by chance, then please shoot me a direct message on any of my socials, and we can set it up. If you want to see the list, go to any of my socials, and they're on there. Or just PM me, and you'll get them. But you can find us on Facebook as Paranormal New Normal / Maniacal Music Musings Podcast with an S Facebook group. Or you can find us on Twitter and the Gram as that Juggalo Bastard. On TikTok as that Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And on YouTube as Paranormal New Normal. And Paranormal New Normal is also now part of the Blind Knowledge Network, which is as right now is the YouTube channel where this will be streaming from now on. So you'll be able to see them on my own YouTube channel once they upload, when the episode releases. But the lives will all be on the Blind Knowledge YouTube channel and soon to come on the Blind Knowledge Facebook page as well.
Yeah. But let me add, if anyone wants to come on my shows, the Noize Report, we do interview style stuff on just about everything: music, movies, pop culture, books, cooking, wrestling, all of that. The noise or the racket brackets, it's going to be brackets of every kind. It's completely random. We take 32 or 64 things of a assorted topic, such as best TV dads or best black comedies or greatest of all time rappers or greatest white rappers not named Eminem. Shit like that, and we make brackets with it. They're completely random. We put all the names into a big wheel generator, and it's spinny, and it shoots out the name, and we stick it in a hole or stick it in a bracket and let the chaos begin. Because
Yes, and as I said, and I showed you a better place to do that than the wheel.
Yeah, well, I actually use that too. I just don't remember the name of it off the top of my head. So,
all right. Well, be sure.
I have it bookmarked. I just without actually, without actually going into the other computer and pulling it up on.
Oh, I don't blame you. But
whatnot. I don't know the proper name of it, so Yeah, that site too. But yeah, all of my brackets are completely random. They are not ranked any kind of way. There's no real means to it other than if we're doing, say, the greatest wrestlers of all time, I type 32 of who I think are the greatest wrestlers, and we stick them into the generator, and it shoots out things. So you may have Ric Flair versus Hulk Hogan as a very first round match, and we just let the chaos go from there because that's always the fun part. Like the first round matchups that you don't want to see in the first round will always happen, and you know, that's the fun thing of seeing the big boys get knocked out first round. Like,
oh yeah, it's always more fun that way. But
yeah,
I will catch you next time. To all the Paranormal Neural fans, be sure to check out all the one-on-one brackets coming up. And if you're interested in doing one, just please hit me up. Until then, have a good night, and we will catch you all next time. Jeez, Munchkin.